Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast, where you'll be not only allowed, but encouraged to dream big dreams and imagine the very best future for yourself and your family. Throw away expectations and perfection and embrace the messy beauty of what it means to be a marvelous mom. I'm your host, Kirsten Tyrell, and I can't wait to help you discover what makes you marvelous. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. This is one I actually really didn't intend to record. I came in my room to grab my computer because we have moved furniture around and I no longer have a designated office space. I'm a free spirit and I love to float around the house anyway with my laptop, but the only thing I need a station for is my podcast. So I was interviewed yesterday on another podcast, which I will be sharing with you shortly, I'm sure. But I had to hurry and set stuff up in my room. So that was my long-winded explanation as to how I came into my room just to grab my laptop to do some other things and saw the microphone. And I was like, you know what? I didn't have an episode this Monday because this podcast was going to be ending. It was supposed to be over, but I have made some changes. Oh my gosh. You're rolling your eyes. This is the Kirsten Tyrell pattern, y'all. I love to make big decisions really fast, and then sometimes they work out really well, and sometimes I have to kind of double back and think about them and really look at what's making sense. I have been in this really bad habit for the last few years, and I guess I shouldn't say bad habit because a lot of good has come of it, but I'm now choosing to see it as a habit I don't want to have anymore. And it's just going too hard, too fast, right? There's certain things that I want to reserve that energy for, and work is not one of them right now. So that doesn't mean that I don't still have the passion to have this outlet, to have a podcast, to share all of the amazing things that I want to share. But it just means that instead of feeling like I have to do 1,000,000 miles an hour and do all the things, I'm taking my own advice that I actually shared with somebody else. I don't remember if it was a podcast interview. I think it might have been a coaching call that I was doing. And I was just sharing that the reason that even though I've been spastic and all over the place doing 1,000,000 different things, the reason things work sometimes for me is because I'm channeling all of that energy into one thing. So this is me redacting my prior episodes where I mentioned that Marvelous Moms Club is ending. I don't know if I'll go and take those episodes down for people who haven't heard them yet and change those out. But I went on this amazing retreat in Florida. You guys who follow me on Instagram might have seen it. It was really amazing. In fact, I'm going to have some really fantastic ladies from the retreat here on the podcast coming up. But it was basically a group of sisters and their mom who are all amazingly talented, and all of their skill sets kind of come into this really beautiful whole, but they're all really good at different things that kind of fit within the holistic, just spiritual healing and self-care. And it was really, really fantastic to be a part of this. And it was something that I hadn't planned a long time for. I got invited a week before, and it was kind of a big commitment, and it was a last minute commitment, but I just knew in my gut I was supposed to go. And it turned out to be really great. And the reason I'm telling you guys this, and I will continue to talk about this experience because there were so many great moments, but my biggest moment, my biggest takeaway was Marianne Huff, who you guys are going to hear. I'm going to get her on this podcast because I love her and I adore her, and you guys need to hear from her. She did Reiki on me. And you guys, if you've never done Reiki, I can't even explain to you fully what it is. It wasn't like a massage. It wasn't anything weird. And it was only 15 minutes. But when she did that, she kind of was able to tell me what she sensed about my energy and just things that she kind of felt as she sat there and just kind of meditated with me. And she was like, you are full of fun and playfulness, and I just want to build a snowman with you. And I was like, whoa. And it just started, there was a lot of these other little moments that came full circle where I will be honest, when I started Marvelous Moms Club, I had one intention, and it's shifted and it's changed and it's morphed, and it's still at its core the same thing. I want to help moms to really step into what makes them amazing and help them to own how great they are. But the scary and sad thing is that even in the process of doing that, I started to brand Marvelous Moms Club in my mind as one thing and remove myself as though I didn't really fit into that description. Marvelous is kind of like a fancy word, right? It's I don't know. It can be playful, but I just look at it as more sophisticated or something. I don't know. This is just my brain. And so I started thinking well, I'm kind of a spaz. I'm not very organized. I'm all over the place. And I love to play with my kids. I love to get dirty. I love to go in the water. I love to go on walks with them. I'm a child at heart. And so I've never really felt like I could fit into this serious mode or this totally spiritually enlightened mother.
but I'm trying to be those things, right? And this was like an aha moment where I'm like, I am a freaking awesome mom, because the energy she got from me is that she wants to build a snowman with me. Like, what kids don't want to be raised by a mom who wants to build snowmen with them and swim in the ocean with them and take them to Disneyland? So darn it, I finally realized, like, I am trying to force something that's already naturally happening, and I'm trying to change things to make sense of them, and I'm trying to use logic and fear to kind of try and shape something instead of just letting it be. And so I have changed a lot over the last several months into a state of like needing to control all of the elements and aspects and the plan, to completely moving into a state of being content with just being. And it's amazing. And so as I looked at my business, as I looked at what I wanted to do and build and be and grow, I started realizing I have to take stuff off my plate. And this is so funny because it goes back to like episode 2 or 3 when I interviewed Tara Williams, and she's like, we try to put all these things on our plate, but we never take stuff off. And then our plate is super, super heavy. And so I'm taking things off my plate. I sat here the other morning and I made a pros and cons list of starting the Full-Time Family Podcast and just staying with Marvelous Moms Club. And I was like, why am I making my life harder at every turn? Like, the brand is a fantastic idea, but why does it have to be its own podcast? Why can't it be a segment on Marvelous Moms Club, right? Like, why can't it just be an element? So partly this episode is just to fill you in on what's going on, but there's a life lesson here, right? Like, I feel like I've been the ringleader of a really big hustle for a long time, and I've been trying to pull people and push people up a hill and trying to encourage them to be amazing and magnificent and marvelous, right? And I think that those things have been important, and it's been something I've been very compelled to do. But sometimes there is so much joy in settling down and just being. And so even though this podcast is meant to inspire you and to give you ideas and examples of women who are going after their dreams or who are overcoming really difficult things in motherhood, it's also a space where I just want you to feel accepted. I want you to feel loved, and I want you to feel whole. And I'm getting emotional about it because when I was at that retreat in Florida, I have never been in a room quite like that in my life, where nobody was trying to outshine the other. There was no agenda. Everybody was just so open and full of love and light and acceptance. And that is the exact vibe that I want to create here on Marvelous Moms Club. So you might notice some shifts and you might not. Like, if depending on how long you've been here, I can see the pattern. I can see how we've shifted and morphed here on the podcast and as a community and as a brand. And I know exactly where I want to take us now, but I also am okay with it not ending up exactly where I think. Does that make sense? Like, I think we're going to flow into a really beautiful space. And I just know all I need is intention, and I need to show up with a desire to create something that gives me the same feeling that I felt at that retreat and at a few other moments in my life where I've just felt that total love and guidance and calm. And I want to create that here. So don't get the wrong idea. This is not going to be a meditation podcast, although who knows, maybe we'll have some marvelous meditations coming down the pike. But it is going to be a space of solitude, and it's going to be a place where you're going to laugh with us, cry with us, have fun. And I'm going to implement the full-time family aspect because that's part of who I am, right? So I've done a few interviews that were intended for that podcast. I'm just going to stick them here. So you're going to be hearing those pop up in the next few weeks, and so much more. There's a lot of different things that I have ideas for, but I'm giving myself the gift of grace and patience and not feeling like I have to do it all by Christmas time. So stay tuned. There's so much coming. I appreciate you guys. We had an amazing month in September. We had 10,000 downloads, which I haven't checked our stats in a really long time. I don't know if we've ever done that before. I know we've had a month where we had like 100,000 downloads, but this September was like, it was just like God was showing me all the signs of like, Kirsten, don't walk away from something that is working, and you are serving some amazing women and you are doing something important here. So stick with it. So that's what I'm choosing to do. And I hope you'll continue to go along this ride with us. So thanks for tuning in. Head to marvelousmomsclub.com right now if you guys want to get on our email list and be apprised of all the updates and fun things that we have coming your way. You guys are marvelous. And I'm so grateful to be blessed with this community, this podcast, when podcasting wasn't even a thing. And here we are 4 years later making awesome things happen. So have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Are you looking for a fun activity, some inspiration for your homeschool journey, some travel ideas, or anything under the sun that might pertain to motherhood? Make sure you've checked out all the new amazing content on marvelousmomsclub.com. It's become an amazing collaborative community full of so many messages from moms from all around the world. So if you're looking for something that strikes your fancy, inspires you, teaches you, or just lifts you up when you're feeling down, go check out marvelousmomsclub.com today.